One of the people on that panel will be Chris Van Hollen. He is the Maryland he's a Democrat from Maryland, ranking member of the House Budget Committee. And we're also joined by Tom Price, Republican from Georgia, one of the top members in the House. Let me start with Congressman Van Hollen, who is on the Biden Commission. Can you give us an update, Congressman, on the Biden Commission? How much have you cut, and how much more is there to go?
Well, I think we've made substantial progress. I don't want to put a specific number on it because it's in flux, and we're making some progress every day. As you know, both the Vice President and the Republicans at the table have said we're in the range of about $1 trillion in deficit reduction. We decided to pick up the pace, so we're meeting 3 times this week in an effort to really try to get a deal because the clock is ticking, obviously, with respect to the danger of defaulting on the debt.
Congressman Price, I think one of the things the markets want to know is whether or not there will be a deal by August. What is your best guess?
Well, I sure hope so. But the real issue is jobs out there across this great land. And the issue in where the job creators are, in the businesses, large and small, is that there's too much uncertainty. That's in taxes and in healthcare and in energy. And the fact of the matter is, it's not that we don't like the programs that Chris and his party and the president have in place. It's that they don't work. So we've got to do something different. And that's why we put forward our budget, which is a positive solution for America and job creation.
If I could just respond to that, one of the great uncertainties out there, of course, is the Republican threat to default on the debt. That obviously is creating all sorts of concerns within the financial markets. Look, we understand you've got to reduce the deficit, but if you're serious about reducing the deficit, you need to do cuts, of course, but you also need to get rid of taxpayer subsidies for the oil companies. How can these guys say they're serious about reducing the deficit and say, whoa, we've got to make sure taxpayers continue to provide the subsidies for big oil? It's just ridiculous.
It's a great line from Chris that he understands the concern about the deficit, but he in fact has supported deficits as his party of 1.4, 1.4, and $1.6 trillion over the last 3 years. Yeah. We're moving in the wrong direction. We've got to turn it around and move in the other direction, which is what we propose: decreasing spending, capping.
Tom knows that the budget proposal that we put forward and the president has recently put forward gets the same amount of deficit reduction. It's just we don't do it by ending the Medicare guarantee and slashing funds in education. So we have a different approaches to try and accomplish the same goal. One is a balanced approach, and one is a lopsided approach.
Medicare's already been destroyed by these folks through Obamacare by taking $500 billion out of it and rationing care. What we've got to do is agree that it's job creation across this land that has to be done. We've got to decrease spending at the federal level, decrease the regulatory oppression from the federal government, and put in place certainty for the businesses out there who want to create jobs.
I am definitely going to have to
waiting for the jobs
ratings. Hey guys, hang on 1 second. I'm going to have to up my mod ratings because I'm going to control this panel later this afternoon. Congressman Price, let me ask you this question. Is any revenue off the table whatsoever? You will not vote for a measure to raise the debt ceiling that includes any increase in revenues?
Well, look, the American people understand we're not in this boat because taxes are too low. We're in this boat because Washington spends too much money. We've got to decrease spending at the federal level, cap it so that it can't go above a certain amount, and then put in place structural reforms like a balanced budget amendment, fundamental reforms to our entitlement programs, so that we decrease the spending, get on that path to a balanced budget, and paying off the debt. That's what has to happen in order for the economy to thrive.
You know, there's all sorts of all sorts of pork barrel spending through the tax code, special exemptions that big Washington lobbyists have gotten over the years. It has the same impact on the deficit as some of the spending programs that we need to get rid of. But the difference is that the Republicans are saying you cannot get rid of these corporate tax loopholes in order to reduce the deficit.
That's not what we said at all.
No, that is exactly. You say that if you're going to do it, you have to deal with the rates. You cannot. Your position is that if you get rid of the oil and gas subsidies, you cannot do it for deficit reduction.
Chairman Camp,
that is what they've said. It's on the record.
Ways and Means Chairman Camp has talked openly about the need to close loopholes, decrease the rate of the corporate income tax, business income tax. These folks have supported the highest business corporate income tax in the industrialized world. That just thwarts job creation. We're strongly supportive of decreasing the rate, broadening the base, closing the loopholes. Those are the kinds of things that must be done in order to create jobs.
Tom just stated that they don't want to close loopholes to reduce the deficit. Reducing the deficit.
What did I say,
No, you said to reduce rates. You did not say to reduce the deficit, Tom, and that is the big look. Until these guys are more worried about the deficit than Grover Norquist, we're going to have a real problem in this country. They will not close the loopholes, and use 1 penny of that to reduce the deficit. That is their stated position.
We're the ones
that
have promoted $6.2 trillion in reduction in federal spending over the next 10 years. That's more than Chris has certainly done, more than the president's done, and that's what the American people want.
Okay.
They want us to be attentive to the issue of job creation across this land, and in order to do that, you've got to cut spending.
They did that by whacking Medicare, and obviously people don't do it by whacking Medicare. They'd rather take the subsidies from the oil companies.
Not true.
We have to leave it there. Unfortunately, 5 minutes is clearly not enough time. I'm not sure 5 months or 5 years is enough time to solve this problem. I thank you both for joining us. Congressman Hollen, I'll see you later today. Congressman Price, I'm sorry, or maybe I'm glad you're not going to be with us. Thank you very much for your time. Simon?
Thank you.
I guess I have my hands full this afternoon, Simon.
Yeah, let's have